time right now, if you can. Good. I don't know if you guys watched that video that I sent, but we're gonna basically have you guys doing exactly what I did in that video that I sent. I specifically send those videos to you guys so that you can have something to fall back on like after the fact, because this tends to be quite a bit of information. Um, Good. Okay, just stop for 1 second and just start walking around. Like, follow me this way. So what you're gonna see, because what you've already done is you've engaged her, you're gonna see her just be like more like she wants to follow you, and like you're just now offering stuff. I'm glad that you paid that, because what she did was she performed a sit, and you just paid her. Go ahead and pay her. Click and pay again. Good, and just keep walking. And what you do with this particular strategy is you just like you get an engaged dog. When you hand feed a dog their meals and you sort of pay her for all the good things, just say her name.
Hello.
And then offer. Put the food out. Good. Awesome. So there's a recall. You're not necessarily even giving a command yet. You're just paying the behaviors. Say her name again. Bam, pay her. Click and pay. So that's a recall. It's the dog doesn't understand words, right? The only way they understand the command sounds is if you've paid them a lot and you've basically forged the behaviors a lot, and then you, after the fact, start adding in a command sound to the behavior. So this is what helps the dog understand, like put the pieces of the puzzle together. It's because they perform this behavior so much, but all of a sudden you've attached a sound to that. And so that's what gives the command sound meaning. It's like, or that's what gives the behavior meaning. The command sound, it becomes something because the dog has done it. People oftentimes, for whatever reason, think that there's something wrong with the dog because they're not understanding the English language. Oftentimes people punish their dogs, or they become frustrated with their dogs when they've never taught them shit. You know what I mean? Like, you haven't taught them anything. So say her name.
Blue.
Click pay. Now, there's not only is that a recall, but that's also teaching her the significance of her name.
Yeah.
Something really awesome happens after she hears that sound. Hey, Blue. Say it again.
Blue.
Click and pay. So that's a recall, and that's also teaching her name right there. So when you get opportunities in your backyard, or if you go to a park where it's just her, not like a dog park, these are the types of things that I would be doing with her. These are the relationship building techniques and strategies where your dog is just going to want to be around you all the time. So if you just put the food bowl down and walk away, you're like totally wasting the opportunity to continue this, to where you just have like this really like strong like relationship bond. Without hand feeding or doing this type of stuff, the dog doesn't have a connection to the person. You know what I mean? Because they're very self-serving animals. So what we do is we turn it around on them. I know that you love food, so I'm gonna absolutely manipulate the shit out of you to like want to be with me by hand feeding you your meals. But you're not just hand feeding her, you're actually like, she's earning all of this. She's only getting a piece of food right now for coming to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then awesome, you could, the luring technique, you could take a piece of food and put it in your hand, cover it with your thumb. Yeah, so come around on this side. Yeah, put it to her face, but don't give it to her. And then just lure her up and over this. As soon as she gets to this side, click and pay. Awesome. What I like to do is, I like to, come here. So over, I'll click and I'll step back. And the reason I do that is because you've performed it, but that step back is a little technique to where the dog is following you. The dog is like chasing you, engaging you. So it's like an engagement technique where the reward is coming, but you're just following me real quick. You've performed it, step back, pay. It's just everything that I like to do in reference, especially with puppies, really revolves around like a really positive experience, but also that experience comes by way of like engaging with me. You know, all you gotta do is do something really simple for me, and I'll click and I'll pay. So right now, click and pay. This is literally, this stuff is like super boring and tedious, but it's the valuable side of like setting like that foundation of relationship. There's the other side of all of this stuff where if a dog is doing something inappropriate, like when I take you guys out into public next, you're going to see a couple of times where we give her like physical corrections, because I can't necessarily have you like going towards the dog or going towards the people. And they're very light corrections, but when we set a foundation like this here, what we're doing is we're giving her something to fall back on, where she's so used to engaging with you, she's done this. It just makes it easier for her to make the better choice. She's going to be distracted out there.
Yeah.
That's a fact. But when we've set good foundation, it's almost like you can get her to come off of it a lot quicker, because she's like, oh yeah, I remember, I get paid when I pay attention to you. As opposed to just going out there and expecting her to like be a good girl. Young puppies are not good. They're totally self-serving, do what the fuck I want, like go chase this, go do. That's just the environment being very enticing and stuff like that. So that's the other side of like something that's really important in reference to like at this age, getting her out early and often. And what I'm showing you right now is the exact same shit that we do out there. It's just a matter of pay attention to me, you'll get paid. Step back, pay. Step back, pay. Good, this is perfect. And here's the thing, there's only like a meal. She's running out of food, so I'm giving her mine. But it's just a meal's worth. I'm not trying to sit here and like fry her brain out. And the reason why I'm having you do one at a time is, good, she offered a down. Awesome. So you see how she almost came up from that position?
Put it down.
So don't go straight down towards her head. Come around like this so that she isn't so enticed to come get the food from you. So if you want to like show her that what she's doing right now is great, that is more than likely going to keep her in the position. So give it a whirl. So just point down. Put the food to her face and point down. All the way down. There, good, pay. Awesome. A little late on the click. Let's go over this. Let's do this to where you don't have to bend down so much. Bring her over to this place right here and just say place just before you get there.
Place.
So lead her up to it. Good, click and pay. Awesome. So just put the food to her face, or come and stand in front of her. Ask her to sit. Well, get her back up here. Just lure her up. Good, pay. Good, now just bring the food to face, bring the hand up and say sit.
Sit.
Good, click pay. Now food to the face, bring her all the way into a down. Click pay. Awesome. Give her another piece of food. Get her down there. Be ready to give her another one directly after you give her that one. Boom, before she gets up. Nope. Sit, down. Good. Give her another piece. See how if you're quicker on the mark? Nice, good, good. One more, give her another one. Multiple feeds, multiple feeds, multiple feeds. Back down. Good. Quick pay. Good. Perfect. Nope, back down. Good. Pay. Good. This is something that's going to help build her duration right here. And then step back, say break.
Break.
Pay. Okay. Disengage from her for a second. I just want to describe what's happening here. People also think that a dog should just understand to hold positions.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
This young puppy is not going to stay still. Like, how do I get that to happen if I don't force her to do it? Exactly what we just went through right there. It's teaching her to hold a position, but she's enjoying herself in the process. Why wouldn't you want to keep doing something if you were, you know what I mean? You're enjoying the shit out of yourself. Oh, if I stay here, I'll get fed. Oh, I stay here, I get fed. So that's that. If you, and she's just young, so I don't expect a long ass down stay out of this little puppy yet. I'll start expecting that, and I'll reinforce that a little more and more and more as she starts to grow. And I don't feel so bad reinforcing shit when she knows better. We've been through this. So if you don't see like a progression in her ability to stay put, that's when I'm actually probably going to use some pressure a little bit. Hey, I'm not going to lure her anymore. We've done this. I expect this out of you. That's reinforcement. Feeding while she's in a down is also reinforcement. But if I just let her pop up, like as she starts to progress in her ability to stay in a position, if I just let her pop up and go piss off and do something, what I'm asking her to do becomes sort of meaningless in the future. She's not going to take it seriously. Does that make sense? So give me a couple pieces of food. I'm just going to do a little demo real quick. Hey, place. Good. Bam. Sit down. Nah, Good. And then sometimes what I want to do is I'll wait a couple seconds in between and I'll switch up the cadence. I'll do a couple quick off the bat. Pause. Pay. 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 So you see how you switch up the timing? What that does is it kind of like, number one, it kind of gives her break. It kind of gives her a chance. It kind of gives us a chance to see, how long she'll hold it. But it also keeps them guessing too. So if you do the same exact cadence every single time, the dog will actually start anticipating the shit. But if you switch up the timing on that, the dog will be like, "When's it coming? When's it coming? When's it coming?" Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So switching up the cadence on that is pretty important as well. So this is great. To be fair with you, to be honest with you, when people ask like, what should I do with my puppy? My number one answer every single time is engage with that puppy. The most important thing is engagement. Your dog paying attention to you. Like, damn all the other stuff. Work on getting your dog wanting to pay attention to you. And this dog is just like voluntarily. We've had the leash on her, but have we been using it? No, dude. And that's because we know how to really get this dog engaged. And she's this little Australian Shepherd dog that all this agility stuff, she kills it on it. And so we love that for her. So I said in the video, you don't necessarily have to have all this crap. You can just go someplace at a park where there's rocks and different things and just get the dog up onto those things. That's why we like get them up on platforms to give them the confidence to do this type of thing. She's already really like naturally a super confident dog. Look at her. This is awesome. She's just a super confident dog. So you have that going for her genetically, but you could just ramp up that confidence tenfold by like challenging her to do like, obstacles and things like this. I've yet to have her climb that ladder. Do you want to see if we can get her to do it? Let me see a piece of food. I'll kind of show you like the progression of this. Matter of fact, cool. Let's see if we can't get this on camera. So I wouldn't expect her necessarily to climb all the way over it straight away, but I'll pay that. Just the two front paws up there, awesome. That was like a really great job. And then what I'll try to do is boom, her nose got to the third rung. That's amazing. So at this point, she's obviously skeptical. I want to show her. I'm just going to expedite this process, and I'm going to physically show her that if she advances a little bit more, it's not going to kill her, okay? So I'll actually take a dog like this, and I'll help them find their feet. I put them here, and I hold them while they find the feet. Good. And then I'm going to let her jump straight off. Good girl! I'm going to pay her for that right there, because that was pretty scary, Good. So I'm going to take that off because we're going to do this again. Let me see if I can't get her to do this on her own. This is a huge challenge. Sometimes I'll do this and I'll put the dog away because I really won't expect her to. Oh, good. That was a progression. So we're just paying the progression. Does that make sense? So regardless of what it is, you're not necessarily this place command, A-frame, platform, new behavior. It's always like a progression. It's never like, oh, I expect you to just know how to do this. So let me see. Come on. Good. Oh, did you see? Okay. You guys get that? And so I'm going to do it again. Good girl. I'm going to let her try to figure it out, try to figure her feet out. Good girl. Good. Big, brave girl. Let's see. Come on. Climb. Climb. Try to let her figure it out and be a big girl. Yes. So, listen, she may not get this on her own on this first shot, but if I did this every day for 3 days, she'd be climbing over this and absolutely destroying it. And it's not just about her climbing over a ladder that's valuable. I just want to explain that to you. The valuable part is you helped her figure this out. Never in a million years would she have gone over this ladder and achieved this obstacle and challenge without your help. If you want another tip on relationship building, aside from this engagement stuff we're talking about, it's helped them conquer things they never would have thought they could conquer if it wasn't for you. Because it's like, wow, dude, I thought there was hot lava up here and I was going to die, but you kind of showed me there wasn't. And as a result, I trust you more now. Does that make sense? Yeah. I know that makes sense. That's the reason why my dogs will literally run through brick walls for me. Seriously. Like, they're absolutely fearless. And that's the type of dog I like to produce. They're pain in the asses, but like they're fully fearless and they're confident and they enjoy life. And it's the fearful dogs, it's the insecure and inexperienced dogs that life isn't just it's not as good with those types of dogs. Like, it sucks because you want to do shit and you don't want to look at your own dog and see like a dog that lacks confidence. It's sad. You know what I mean? Some of it is genetic, genetically speaking. You have a genetically gifted dog in reference to like natural confidence. She's also a puppy, so she hasn't really had an opportunity for any real negative experiences. Everything has been positive for her. You know what I mean? That's another reason why I think it's pretty cool that you brought her here, because I've set her up with nothing but that, but we're also learning a lot in the process as well. So I feel like we've already gone over a shitload. It looks like you've got the marker down, which is great. Every time she does something you like, it's a click. And what that does is it releases a dopamine hit. That sound right there could also be used as an interrupter. Let's see if we can put that to the test right now. So she's over there being like distracted by the family. Just click it to see if we can get a response. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Pay that woman, that young lady. So that's proof that we've loaded the clicker. That means, oh, you see almost how she kind of bugged out and was like, where's my payment? So it's a beautiful thing to see that, because we're live and you guys did. That's why I need a cameraman, because if we would have had that on film, that would have like solidified exactly what I was saying. It's just like she gets paid every time she hears that sound. It's a pretty simple concept. And then she starts offering shit. But here's the thing. Last thing I'm gonna say before I'm gonna let you go back to enjoying her for a while, because I'll piss off and you guys enjoy yourselves and I'll come back and get her, is the length of the session is like the food, the meal. She's young. We're not gonna sit there and drill her for an hour. Like, this is a longer session than normal because we're obviously explaining things, but I don't want to burn her drive. It's not about an hour long of like obedience, formal shit, this and that. It's about 5 to 10 minutes of good solid work until your meal's gone. Boom, put the dog away or do whatever you're gonna do. Okay, 5 minutes. So remember, as you do one at a time, that's for the sake of like working different things. That's perfect right there. You're a natural. I'm gonna be hiring you to be my dog trainer one day. But it's what's the saying? It's not the quantity, it's the quality. It's not like drilling for an hour is more valuable than 5 to 10 minutes of solid work in this particular instance. Maybe working out for an hour versus 5 to 10 minutes might be like a difference, but not when it comes to dogs, because especially young dogs, young mind, don't want to burn that sucker out. Besides, she's going to start checking out after like the first 10 minutes anyway. Then you're going to be practicing bad habits. You're going to burn the dog's drive. It's going to be counterproductive. So it's a good thing. Give me 5 to 10 minutes of training per day when you guys go home, and you holler at me in 3 months and you let me know if you guys haven't built an absolutely amazing relationship together. This has just been a great head start for her. Is that, you know what I mean? Just as good as just great experiences with other dogs. My older dogs have been checking her a little bit, so she's interacting appropriately with dogs. She kind of understands where she lies in the ranking order. You know what I mean? Yeah. If she gets a little too pushy, one of my dogs would be like, "Hey, back the F up a little bit," and then she's like, "Oh, okay." You know, so it's very healthy communication. Something that I actually personally can't offer for her. You know, like I could obviously get in there and say, "Hey, that's enough," but I don't know. There's just something about a dog teaching another dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, but only if it's appropriate, because obviously there could be situations that escalate and the next thing you know it's like an unhealthy correction or it's like a fight that breaks out. That doesn't happen here because I have an extreme knowledge of the dogs in question. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, like, hey, man, yeah, I'm telling you, she's great with dogs and she's learning. It always depends on the dogs in question. So if you have friends with dogs and that, it's really important to kind of understand, you know, like where they're coming from. Maybe listen to, like, are they good with dogs? I'd ask questions, you know, are they good with dogs? What's your experience been like? And then we would just make sure that the interaction was appropriate. So I would just be like, okay, is one of them getting more, is one of them like getting the better of, is one being bullied? You know what I'm saying? Like, is she sort of being punked out by this dog who doesn't understand that this is being too pushy? You know what I'm saying? And that's all pretty obvious, I guess, to me, but to the average person, they may not see something like that. You just look at the interaction and you ask yourself, are they like on an even playing field right now? Because if so, let them have a good fucking time together. But if one of them's just overstepping in some way, that's when I might step in, because the cues aren't being, you know, there may not be like a dog who understands social cues that well because they're just pushy, you know what I mean? And a lot of dogs are. So I'm recording all of this stuff so that you can also have this video to like fall back on as well. Because I really feel like that's really important to have, because I've been talking for 20 minutes and it turns out to be a lot of information. But again, I'm really happy to see like you've taken good to this. The timing of the rewards is great. The click. Look at her just offering. You can see how she's all fulfilled and worked. She's like just chilling, you know what I mean? So that's what 5 to 10 minutes of solid work does to a dog's mind, dude. It like tires them out. People, to me, they go to the dog park and they're like, my dog's still fucking wild. I'm like, well, that's because you didn't really work the dog. The dog ran around. That type of dog can run for 5 years without getting tired. Put a little bit of mental pressure, mental stimulation on that dog. Now you're talking about getting tired. Kind of like when you took a long test at school. You know, you're like, fuck, I've sat in this chair. Now I need to go take a nap. Same exact thing. Really fulfilling, you know. That's the other side of like fulfilling a dog. It's not just go to the park and throw the tennis ball. It's okay, that was obviously, or playing tug. It's like the biological fulfillment side. Great. But now let's like sit still for a bit. Because that part, it's really easy to get a dog ramped up and jacked up. It's not easy to get them unramped up and jacked up. Does that make sense? So unless you're practicing on both ends of the spectrum, you're probably going to end up with a dog that's just like in a constant state of over arousal and really just a nightmare to handle, you know? So anyway, that's enough for me. Do you have any questions? I'm sorry, I've sat there and just fucking talked, but this is all recorded and you'll have access to this. I'll just post it up on YouTube.